I'd like to call the meeting of the Construction Board to order at 6:03 p.m. on May 24th. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'd like to have a roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Wiltshire?
Here.
Mr. Roberts?
Here.
Mr. Fortier?
I'm here.
Mr. Sheskowski?
Here.
And Ms. Carbano?
Here.
Thank you.
Announcements. I do have an announcement.
Yes.
Mr. Fournier is not going to be with us tonight, but he will be joining us via Zoom.
Madam Chair, so I just want to add that what we're doing tonight, since Mr. Fortier is the chair, and it wasn't able to be here, he's here by Zoom. We need, in the next meeting, we'll have a matter on the agenda to make sure we have a vice chair. Our previous vice chair is no longer on the board. So the chair is going to you as the most senior member on the board as far as the number of years of service.
I was the previous chair also. So.
Yes.
Okay, now we need an approval of the minutes from December 6th.
I have a correction for the minutes.
Yes.
Item 5,
Okay.
it reads here, he further explained that a lot of these cases should read. He further explains a lot of these cases. It's repeating itself. That doesn't show any correction.
I'm sorry. Yes, it does, sir. It does. There's the word A.
A lot instead
There
of.
being no further corrections.
It explains that lot of these cases.
A lot of, yes, there is a correction. It was
Okay,
just that
who put-
one letter, A.
A.
Okay.
All right, I stand corrected then.
Okay.
I have something. I don't know. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, Wayne. So on and I have COVID. That's why I'm not there. But on page 2 at the bottom paragraph, it's a ticky-tack thing, but grammatically it should say on the second sentence, he stated he had satisfied, not he satisfied. It's ticky-tack, but that's grammatically correct. He has satisfied. I know. But that's how you write it. Sorry.
Okay. If that's
Yeah.
it, we can approve it subject to that change.
Absolutely. I thought they were well done.
Need a
Can I get
motion?
I would make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, and I'll second that. Okay. Now we have public input for any of the items, anything other than the
Madam
items
Chair,
that are on the
point of
agenda.
order.
Yeah, but you have to have roll call. You have to.
Yes,
You can't just approve
You want a
and
roll
second.
call?
You have to have everybody's vote.
just point of order. This is the city attorney. The motion was first with the changes, second by the chair. Now there should be a roll call.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry about that. I'm
Okay.
sorry, James.
Ms. Carbano?
Yes.
Mr. Sheskowski?
Yes.
Mr. Fortier?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
And Mr. Wiltshire?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll go on to public input for items other that are on the public agenda, on the printed agenda. Hearing nothing, we'll go on to unfinished business. We have none. New business, we have quasi-judicial hearings. And I'd like to open the hearing.
Madam Chair, you're asking me to read?
Yes, it says attorney
Okay.
reads the title.
No, I'm just asking if you're directing me the question, Madam Chair. Okay, this is a quasi-judicial disciplinary hearing in the matter of Mr. Dylan Slater. This is the first one. Mr. Dylan Slater, DBA Slater Construction LLC, alleged violation of the following section of the Sebastian City Code of Ordinance that occurred at the following location in Sebastian, 116 Ormond Court. The applicable code section from the City Code of Ordinance is Section 26172, cause for disciplinary action. The following acts constituted cause for disciplinary action. 1, diversion of funds or property received for the completion of a specified construction project or operation, or as a result of the diversion of the contractor is or will be unable to fill the terms of his obligation or contract.
Okay. Construction board members have any ex parte communications to disclose in these matters?
I have none.
You have none, okay. And I have none, I'm sorry.
I have none. This is
And you
48.
have none, James, okay. Now, we need to swear in all who intend to offer testimony, correct?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
No witnesses? Are they present?
Okay. We need the applicant or the applicant's agent have any, to make their presentation.
Yeah, Madam Chair, there's also some witnesses that
Anyone
need...
here from the applicant?
Madam Chair, just one point of order. There's some witnesses that also need to be sworn in. So any witnesses that are going, yes, stand, sir. Any witnesses, stand, ma'am. Any witnesses that are going to testify about the case today, please stand and
Right,
follow the
thank you.
instructions.
Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and factual representations which you are about to give or present during this public hearing will be truthful and accurate? Yes. Thank you.
Okay, Madam Chair, the witness has been sworn, and when they give testimony for the record, they can state their names and their address.
Okay. Whoever is here with the applicant? No one? Okay, we find no one is here from the applicant or an agent from his companies for this presentation. Okay, the staff presents their findings and analysis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wayne Esseltine, building official, City of Sebastian. I want to start with our notice to appear. The applicant's not here. I do want to tell you what was done. So we sent out a notice to appear through certified mail to his address that is with his DVPR license and with SunBiz. That certified mail is taking a very long time. So we did attempt to deliver in person. We delivered to, bear with me. We delivered to 4853 61st Circle in Vero. This is the address that's on record for his business and with the state license. the respondent was not there, but his representative was his mother, Miss Bonnie Kramer. I spoke to her, and she assured me that she would be able to get the notice to Dylan. And that was on May 16th. And the other notice, we got information that he may be residing at 4495 60th Court in Vero. There was an attempt to be made to deliver there and hopefully catch him there. No one was available to receive the notice, so the notice was left on the front door with photos taken by our code enforcement officer. And again, this is the residence. This was on May 5th, 2022, and this is where we believe he resides. So those are the attempts that we made to deliver the notice to him in person. Both of them where we were only be able to leave the notice. So we feel that he has gotten adequate notice in accordance with the code, but he does not appear to be here tonight. So moving on to 116 Ormond Court. This is the owner, is Mr. James Korma. So I'll read the violation description of what happened there, a narrative of what happened at 133 Admiral Circle. So on 11/18/2019, the owner entered into a contractor to build a duplex, the amount of $250,000. On 8/26/2020, the owner alleges that on the same day he made his initial payment, he was asked by the contractor to sign the notice of commencement, which was, it's a notarized document, but it was later notarized on February 8th, 2021 by a notary whom he does not know, has never met. On 10/27/2020, Slater Construction applied for a building permit to build a duplex at 116 Ormond Court. It's almost a year later after the contract was entered. On a 1/28/2021, the building department received a receipt from the contractor for the payment of the Indian River County water and sewer connection fees, and that was date stamped 12/9/2020. The Indian River County utility receipts were received on 3/2/22 in the amount of $9,293 and $6,908 for the 2 units. And that was received from the owner. So as a condition to the issuance of the permit, we have to have these utility receipts. So after investigation, it appears that the original utility receipt that was received, submitted by the contractor to the building department on 1/28 for the purposes of obtaining that building permit, was tampered with and shows a different address, the owner's name and phone number. But looking at the evidence, it showed that the parcel ID number on the receipt matched up with a receipt for 115 Flint Street, a totally different address. And that was a duplex that had been previously built by Slater Construction. So we don't feel that the original receipts that we received were actual receipts. So on 3/30/2021, notice the owner was sent to the owner of the property from CMEX Construction Materials. On 7/16/21, a claim of lien was placed on the property by CMEX Construction Materials for non-payment of construction supplies for an order placed by Slater Construction. The owner received a letter from an attorney representing CMEX Construction Materials dated 10/20/2021 demanding payment of the outstanding balance plus interest. The owner has provided invoices showing his direct payments were made to subcontractors and their suppliers of materials in lieu of Slater Construction in order to continue the construction project. The owner was compelled to hire an attorney who provided a letter of termination dated 1/3/2022 addressed to Dylan Slater for breach of contract. On February 19th, 2021, the owner filed a contractor complaint affidavit with the City of Sebastian Building Department. On 3/8/2022, the house was completed and a certificate of occupancy was issued by the Building Department for 133 Admiral Circle. At this time, I'd like to do a couple of things. Madam Chair, I want to enter my staff report as Exhibit 1 into the record. I also would like to submit to you the applicable codes of the city of Sebastian for these hearings, and the notice to appear. The notice to appear and these applicable codes are germane to the entire process tonight, all three of the cases that we have. So we'll just say, we'll call those Exhibit 1 and 2. And then the 116 Ormond Court staff report will be Exhibit 3. Is that okay for the board? Yes. Okay. So let me do that. I'm going to give the board members this. If you're listening, I hope you got my email. I sent you the code sections that I'm handing out now.
Wayne, are we have time for questions?
Just for the record, Mr. Esseltine, can you clarify what did you hand to the board members?
What I just handed to the board members were the applicable code sections of the City Code of Ordinances. This is sections 26-172, causes for disciplinary action or diversion of funds or property received for the completion of a specified construction project or operation, or as a result of the diversion, the contractor is or will be unable to fulfill the terms of his obligation and contract. The other sections were 26-175, where it talks about penalties and appeals. And that's section C, E, 1, 2, and 3. Nothing further at this time. I'm going to get further down. Madam Chair, I think we're at board members ask questions of the applicant and staff.
Ma'am, is your mic on? Mic on.
Sorry about that. Board members, do you have any questions for staff or the applicant who isn't here? So I guess staff questions only.
I had a couple questions. Did the, Mr. Slater, did he ever provide any explanation to why the project was not completed on time? Written statements or?
In this particular case, I have not witnessed to any of that. I'm sure the owner of the property who is here can attest to what has transpired in greater detail than I can provide.
But he never gave an affidavit or anything?
No, sir. I've not had any contact with him at all, other than, in my attempt to give him the notice to appear before this board.
Oh, okay.
But again, the owner of the property is here.
Okay. And second, oh, was he?
Go ahead,
Okay.
finish.
And second question, with the, I guess there's some allegations of fraud. Has law enforcement become involved at all?
Yes, they did.
Did anything come from that investigation?
Mr. Chair, those issues at this point is not really germane. This board here has before it the facts, whether or not Mr. Dillon violated our code, and if so, what this board wants to do as a result of that.
Okay. I was just curious if it had risen to the level of a crime or not. So, thank you.
I have a question, Wayne. This is James.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Fournier.
Okay, so, maybe I'm reading this wrong, but it looks like all three addresses is $250,000? Or am I reading that wrong? The contract.
Yes, the contract was $250,000.
For each address? No? Or am I reading this wrong? And it's because each one says that it's $250,000 as the value, but there's different addresses. So I'm a little perplexed on that one.
Mr. Fortier, could I ask you to speak a little louder? It's very hard for us to hear you in here.
Okay, so each address, from what I see, from what was in the packet, each project, it looks like three different projects, three different addresses at $250,000. Is that correct? The same amount? That doesn't make sense to me. I don't.
It's three different contracts. Yes, they're all the same amount.
They're all at $250,000, even though each one had a different scope of work.
They're all duplexes. That's all I can comment on.
So it's all duplexes and it's all the same. It's all cookie cutter. That doesn't make sense to me, frankly. But if you say it's all the same, then so be it. I'm fine with that. You know, I would like to make a little statement as far as an Division I contractor. This kind of conduct doesn't do anything positive to the city of Sebastian or contractors in general. It just doesn't do it. So this is not a good thing, in my opinion. And I would respect that the board would look into that as we weigh in at the end, but this is not what construction needs. It's just not. That was my statement.
Okay, anyone else have any other questions? No? No more questions. I'd like to open the floor to the public that has anyone in favor of the appeal. No one in favor.
She doesn't understand.
This is in favor? Okay, would you? Okay,
I'm James Chorma.
you're opposing the appeal.
You would be testifying in favor of this appeal because it's for discipline, is what we're asking for, correct?
Yes.
Okay, please. Yes.
My name is James Chorma, last name Chorma.
Okay, and your address, please?
8000 91st Avenue, Vero Beach, Florida, 32967.
Okay, I saw that address on here somewhere. Okay, would you like to speak about in favor of the?
Yeah, the reason, this project took 18 months, which it normally shouldn't took a lot shorter than that, but he just lied, and never finished the project, and that's, I ended up putting $80,000 out of my own pocket to finish the deal after, above the $250,000 that was agreed upon in the contract.
Other than what you have written here in your report, do you have anything else to add as to what Mr. Slater gave you in the way of excuses for not being able to honor the contract and complete it?
He just delayed. He never said he was going to not complete it, but he just delayed and delayed. There was also a roofing person that I had to pay off that he owed. He didn't finish the roof, and then there was a $7,000 lien on it. And the guy was trying to get me to also pay off another job that he did also, just to complete my roof. but I talked him into just taking the 7,000 or 7,500, I forgot exactly what it was, to get the lien off the house and complete my roof. And then after that, I had to complete the project myself. After I had a lawyer also to make sure I was able to do it properly, so I had to pay for a lawyer also. And
Okay.
again, I had to pay a little over $80,000 to get it done, and I sold it in March, so I'm finished with everything.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions?
Which address was yours?
Okay.
The 113 Ormond Court,
Okay.
116.
Okay.
The only question I had, we had the two bills for the utilities. Do we know do we know where those came from? Or like, were those from the construction cost?
The original receipts that we received?
Yes. Was it
So it appears that, to me, it appears that the original utility receipts that were received from 115 Flint Street, which is another project Mr. Slater had built previously, that was doctored, changed, and resubmitted to us as utility receipts for 116 Ormond Court. Now, my staff doesn't pay a lot of attention to, other than the address looks right, the owner's name looks right, it's utility receipt comes from, it looks like it comes from Indian River County Utilities. It didn't even really dawn on us to look at that any further or anything else until Mr. Tromer brought in his receipts for utilities. And then that made me think, well, why did he have to pay it after the fact when that should have been paid up front before the permit was even issued? So as I dug into our records a little further and started looking at it and seeing some inconsistencies with the writing, this is what clued me in. And then I looked at the parcel ID number. The parcel ID number was not changed, and that was not for 116 Ormond Court, it was one for 115 Flint Street.
Okay. So those were cost outside of the 250,000? Those utilities?
Yeah, I mean, the 250, well, I don't know if it's incorporated with his contract price or
It's
not.
supposed to be, on the first draw, that's supposed to be paid off. The money for the 16,000 that was for that was supposed to be paid off. And because the city didn't find that right away, when we came back to, once we got control of the property, we came here and they said that it was already paid, and then 2 days later told us it wasn't paid because again, it was, because of somebody changing a document.
Right.
So you had to pay that in addition?
So, exactly, since the city Sebastian didn't pick it up, I don't know if their employees didn't notice the parcel was the same as a different parcel, I had to pay that $16,000 out of my own pocket because of their mistake.
At some point, you realize you don't have water,
Yeah.
you know, during the construction process, and you wonder why, and you call utilities, and it's because it's never been paid.
But hopefully, the city of Sebastian is going to correct their employees and have it done properly in case there's other fraud like that out there also.
It's hard. I mean, we get a utility receipt from Indian River County on their on their letterhead. We don't automatically assume it's a forged document. The address is correct, the name is correct, it goes in the file.
But that mistake cost me $16,000.
So,
Wayne, question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wayne,
Thank you.
question. Not really for this gentleman right here, but was there anyone in any of these three incidences that they had to, because there was a notice of commencement and then there was an NTO, did anybody have to pay for supplies under an NTO after paying the contractor?
There's people back there.
I ended up paying the contractor the first 3 installments, and then we met for a meeting at my, at the duplex where it was being built. There's still no roof on it. He was telling me that the people who make the thrust, I think they're believed called the triangles.
Trusses, yeah.
Trust, thank you. He was going to put a lien on the property if I didn't write him a check right then and there for $20,000. And he promised me, that was in May, so I wrote a check out to the construction the place who makes the trust for the $20,000, and he promised me by then he would have it done by July, would be for sale. And again, we didn't even have a roof then, and that was the last time I saw him or talked to him, because that was it, he was done.
Wow. Lord.
I have a question for the city attorney. Are we going to get around to it? The penalties, are they going to be each one individual or all three together?
I can't hear you. Say again?
When we get around to assessing the penalties,
Well, go
are
ahead.
they going to be assessed on each property individually or all three together?
No, these are three different property, these are three different separate incidents, so you will be able to assess 3 different times. That's why the cases were brought to you as 3 separate cases.
Madam Chair, can I say something?
Madam Chair, can I ask a question to the property owner? Can I ask a question to the property owner?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just a quick question. Do you know the city is asking the board to recommend a fine and suspension? And do you support that?
Yes.
Okay.
I've got something.
You've got a question?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
When I looked at your property, 116 Ormond, with the paperwork that I see in here, he got like over $200,000 out of you.
Correct.
Okay.
And plus the $20,000 to that, to the
With that
trust
you had to
person.
pay, because he wasn't paying his subcontractors.
Right.
Okay.
Worst part also, one time, he came over to the house for $25,000 for he said it was for the roof, and I showed him a text that he said the roof that was already paid from the last draw. That weekend, 2 days later, he was in Las Vegas. You know, I saw him on Instagram in Las Vegas, and I'm like, there goes my money.
With your
Yeah.
money.
So I wasn't
And he
happy with
also,
that.
he also got.
Hold
he
on,
also got-
Madam Chair, just point of clarity. When you say he, you're referring to who?
Dylan Slater, he came to my house for the $25,000 draw.
I'm sorry, you're talking about Mr. Slater? Is that
Yes.
correct?
Dylan Slater.
Because he was also getting money out of you for buying trusses ahead of time. And we see and hear that he didn't even pay the trust company
was me.
to start that.
Mr. Wiltshire, that's a different case.
Sir?
That's a different
Oh,
case.
it's a different one?
All right, I'm sorry.
And you, excuse me a moment, you were saying that you wrote the check out to the supplier himself?
To the,
For
to the
that.
wood, whoever the thrust company was. I have the copy of the check here.
Okay, as opposed to giving it to him?
Right, because
Okay.
they were gonna put a lien on my
Put a
house if
lien
I didn't
on,
do it. He
yes.
said, he gave me 1 day. He said, 1 day they're gonna put a lien on, so I called it, I asked if they took a credit card, they didn't, so I had to write a check, and that was the rest of my money.
Okay.
Hey, Wayne, another question here. Why is this not grand larceny? There's plenty to make the prima facie case for a criminal attempt here. Why is this even coming to our board? This should be done in the criminal court, in my opinion. I don't understand this.
Is that for me?
No, that was for Wayne.
Oh, for Wayne, I'm sorry.
That's for Wayne. Why are we talking about this when this really is this is larceny? This is stealing. Why are we talking about this? I don't understand. There's plenty to
Mr.
make a
Fournier,
prima facie case.
this is the city attorney. It is before this board because he violated, we're bringing it pursuant to our code. It is before this board correctly. Whether or not the local law enforcement agencies followed up with something, that's a different story. That's not before this board, as I stated earlier.
All right, I just think that sometimes you always like to go with the best route to get to success, jackpot, and I don't know if this is it. I think law enforcement is it, because everything I've read in this paperwork, this gentleman needs to have cuffs, in my opinion. But I get it.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir.
with this matter before us at 6 Ormond Court against Mr. Dylan Slater, I would make a motion that we give him the maximum penalty
We haven't reached that point yet. We need to hear from everyone that needs to speak in favor. Okay. Is there anyone else that needs to, can I
I'll withdraw my
let this
motion
gentleman
then.
go and see if there's anyone else? Because I see everybody is, okay, you want to come up, and when you get to the microphone, please say your name and spell your last name, please.
My name is Robin DeVitis, D-E-V-I-T-I-S. I went into contract with Dylan back in 2020, gave him a deposit. Then I gave him, about 3 months later, money for my permits. Never got my permits. Seems that he took my money for my permits and bought 2 engines for his 27-foot boat that he told everybody about and put on Facebook. So I fired him, breach of contract. I did give him money. I was lucky. I was a very big pain in the butt. He put $20,000 back in my mailbox. I lost $5,000. It's not a lot, but it's something, and I had to go to a lawyer to get it.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? My house also was $250,000. It seems to be the going rate. COVID came. Of course, he would never be able to do that house for $250,000 with the prices. You know, he was borrowing from Paul to pay Peter. That's how he was doing it. Not a way to run a company. I finally got my money back, but I waited the 90 days because he would have put a lien on my house. That's just the kind of person he is, okay? My opinion is he didn't do what he was supposed to get me my permits. I thank God, because I would have really been in a mess like everybody else. But not for nothing, I don't understand how this man could have a general license, contracting license, and get a pool license. And it's 2 different numbers. And I want to have it on the record that it's 2 different numbers.
Right.
His general license contract is CGC 1526339. 2 months ago, he got a pool license. Amazing that they gave him a pool license.
Yeah.
CGC 1531897. I also don't understand is with those cost reports. If you have 5 cost reports and you have 4 payments, there's something wrong. Something is not right. When I came here, and I came every day almost to the building department to say, something is wrong. Something's going on here. It wouldn't have gotten this far. Honestly, it wouldn't have gotten this far. Something, you know, he's a very good talker, and he gets his way out of it. I mean, I don't even know what to say, you know. I can't get in on the criminal case because I took money from him through a lawyer. You know, I'm done. But the house is now done. I had to get another contractor, $60,000 more, because everything went up in price. Honestly, my opinion, it should be, he's a violation of probation for the money he stole. Do it now. Don't wait. Do what you can. He will be off of probation at the end of December for his B&E, which is burglary and entry. That's a theft.
And just for the record, point of order, none of this is germane to this case. I'm going to have to object. I think this witness needs to stick to issues pertaining to, if anything, that Mr. Dillon did to her. Anything else is not germane. And also for the board, keep in mind, this is a witness. She should be limited to 5 minutes. She is not one of the owners. She is a prior person that has dealings with this contractor, and she's here to offer that. Right. Other than that, anything else is not germane for this court.
But, you know, I don't know, you know, what to do, but I don't understand how you could get another license. I don't know if it goes by social or whatnot.
Again, all that is not relevant before this
It's not
board.
relevant at all, so you can get another license, it doesn't matter.
Has the building department looked into any of these allegations?
Okay, are we done with
It's
this
not
witness? Okay, hold on. Just point of order, ma'am. Are we done with this witness? 5 minutes, so we can
Yes.
continue.
You'll be
Okay.
excused.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Wayne,
much.
Wayne, I have a question, because I do think this is germane to what we're talking about. The question is for Wayne. Is there, and this is coming from the chairman of the board, of the city of Sebastian. Has there been, because you don't get this just all of a sudden, has there been any incidences where this has just been happening and happening, and how did this slip through the cracks? That would be my question. It doesn't happen overnight. Is there something that's been perpetuating? I mean, this individual obviously has been doing this. I understand that we only have the ability to do minor fines and a possible local suspension. I fully understand that. However, this doesn't happen overnight. How do we get here?
All I can tell you is we spoke with Ms. DeVitas, who just testified early on. You know, the powers of the building department and this board are limited to whatever's in our city code of ordinances and in the Florida Building Code. We cannot get involved in contractual issues. It's civil matters. But at some point, you know, we're getting written complaints. We looked into the complaints. All of these cases that are before the board are areas where we found that we can apply our code in the way of diversion of funds. That we're limited in our powers. We have no arrest powers. We have no criminal investigation powers. We always refer people to the law enforcement when we think it's applicable. But we're here tonight we're talking about a license holder and their ability to pull building permits. So if the license holder is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's why they're here, for disciplinary hearings. And that may result in a decision by the board to suspend permitting privileges, stop this occurrence from keep happening. But yes, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over a period of time. And all of the people that are here, I mean, we've been gathering evidence for quite some time now and looking into all of these complaints. But we're here tonight with 3 cases. And I think it's the board's duty to hear the cases and make a decision as to what they want to do with his licensing privileges.
All right, now when you're a Division I contractor, you, a customer can file a complaint. Did anybody look into the Department of Business and Professional Regulation to see, is this a long-standing thing? Is this a trend, a history? Did anybody look into that? Because that's available, public information.
Again, we're not the Department of Business and Professional Regulation. We're the City of Sebastian. We deal with the complaints as they come in, and the results of this hearing will be forwarded to the Department of Business and Professional Regulation because he is a state license holder. Indian River County has recently taken action for similar type complaints, and we're aware of that. We've conferred with Indian River County. So we're dealing with what's here in the city of Sebastian.
All right, and I want to just say that for me, I agree with the gentleman on the board that said that we should move for the max. I'm full agreement, but obviously the board will weigh in. I'm full agreement. Whatever we can do, in my opinion, we should do because this cannot happen. And if we only have limited autonomy of what we can do, so be it. But we have to do it to the max, in my opinion. I will yield to the board.
Madam Chair, if no further questions or any other witnesses, then I think the next, is there any other witnesses?
There's one in the back.
You had somebody in the back.
And I believe Commissioner or Councilman Roberts had a question.
I think, is she from one of the other cases?
Yeah, hey, microphone.
She's just a witness, okay, that's a 5-minute. Okay, that's 5 minutes, right?
Yes, right. Just like the previous person, she's just here to talk about her experiences or bad experience with this contractor for years. She is sworn, so you can't take the evidence for what it's worth, ma'am.
Please state your name and spell your last name, please.
Yes, Kristen, Kristin, last name Lees, Lees. Does my time start now?
Okay, please go ahead with your...
All right. Hi, guys. I signed a contract with Dylan in August of 2020. As you know, it is May 24th, May 24th, yes. And my house isn't even halfway completed yet. I was the recent one who just filed a complaint with Indian River County with David Chichi, and I will be filing criminal charges as of Friday with the Indian River Sheriff's Office. My house is being built at 8836 99th Ave in the unincorporated of Vero Beach, the same as most of these people here. The last time I saw Dylan was in December of last year. So I saw Dylan in December. He related that he needed a draw. He got paid for a roof that was dried in, for soffit that was completed, yada, yada, yada. I've never built a house before. This is my first experience. Absolutely horrible. I would never build a house ever again. So I sent my bank out to approve that he did what he said. They said, yes, your soffit's here. Yes, it looks like your roof's dried in. Looks great. Well, 10 times later, hasn't passed inspection. I had to go hire a new roofing company. That cost me $20,000, an extra $13,000 over what Dylan said. The new soffit, I had to hire a new soffit company. It cost me an extra $7,000. And then I get a bank draw from my bank, and like a bank statement, and he's already taken all of my septic money, which is my drain fill, which, as everybody knows, that doesn't get done till the very last. All that's completely taken. He hasn't paid for my AC. I had to pay for the AC and the concrete out of pocket also, because there was liens coming towards my house from Family AC. Gator Lumber, I also had to pay an extra $10,000 for all my interior framing. And then my trusses, I also had to pay an extra $8,000 through Tibbetts. So I gave him an extra $40,000, plus I've given all the extra contractors, subcontractors, that he is hiring another $40,000 also. So I'm an extra $80,000 out of pocket. I'm building a 5-bedroom, 6-bath house, so it's kind of larger. So I was like, okay, maybe prices have went up. We'll take care of the extras. I just expected the work that he actually completed to be somewhat correct. So that none of it was correct. My trusses were all completely wrong, so I had to go back to Jason Short, who's the structural engineer that he hired. Fantastic guy, by the way, and he redid all my trusses for me in order for me to actually pass an inspection. So it is, if you pull Indian River counties and in my lot book, it'll be Burt Marshall and Kristen Lee's, and you can do our inspections. He hasn't paid for any of our inspections. My roofer that I just hired actually felt horrible for me, and he just paid off all my inspections for me. So, because nobody can get a hold of Dylan. So he has also, he's been certified letter for Indian River County. I sent him a certified letter for a breach of, early termination breach of contract because abandonment of the house for 45 days. And I also filed a complaint with DBPR, and I filed that 3 weeks ago and haven't got an incident number. I'm still waiting. So I will hire a lawyer also to go down that route. But as of right now, I'm $80,000 extra out of pocket, and there we are. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for your input. Now, Wayne, let me ask you a question. We will be able to forward all of this to the Department of Regulations? Mike. We'll be able to send all of this information to Department of Professional Regulations once we make the determination?
Yes, ma'am. Any disciplinary action the board takes on a state license holder, it's in Florida statute that has to be forwarded to them.
Okay, I thought I read that. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, so. Now does, do you have, staff have any summary? Or we've pretty much dealt with that as we've gone along?
We're up to staff summary?
Yes.
Okay. So our summary is Mr. Torma entered into a contract with Slater Construction 11/18/2019 to build a duplex for the amount of $250,000. Mr. Slater was paid various draws totaling $201,800. Mr. Torma became aware of the instances where terms of the contract were not being fulfilled, experienced construction delays, numerous inspection failures, and non-payments to suppliers of materials that led him to hire an attorney to terminate the contract. Mr. Dylan Slater appears to have fraudulently changed documents from one governmental agency and submitted them as evidence of payment to another governmental agency. Mr. Slater has also instructed the owner to sign a document that was required to be notarized while not being in the presence of the notary. Mr. Charma has been subject to a construction lien placed on his property for material suppliers that went unpaid by Slater Construction, who ordered the supplies. Mr. Charma has had to pay suppliers directly to avoid non-payment by the contractor. Mr. Dylan Slater has shown that he was unwilling to fulfill his obligations under the terms of the contract by diversion of funds paid by the owner in violation of City Code of Ordinance 26-172, parentheses 5. I have a suggested motion for the board. A motion to find Dylan Slater with license number CGC 1526339 with the following: in violation of City Code of Ordinance 26-172, parentheses 5, where the contractor was unwilling to fulfill his obligations under the terms of the contract because of his diversion of funds. Number 2, a fine in the amount of $500 plus an additional $100 administrative fee in accordance with 26-175, parentheses D, and shall be paid within 30 days. 3, all permitting privileges suspended for a period of 2 years, at which time the contractor must reappear before the construction board to demonstrate competency to the satisfaction of the board before reinstating permitting privileges. Number 4, any uncompleted work that has a permit issued or applied for on by this date may continue to completion in accordance with 26-175, parentheses E.
Okay.
No further comments.
We need somebody to move that.
Okay. Are you finished, Wayne? Okay. I do have just something on the very front page of this staff report. It's got the Ormond Court address under location, yet under the narrative, it's got an alleged violation for Admiral Circle.
I see that.
Okay, I just wanted to
That was my mistake.
make sure that gets changed.
We would need somebody to move what Wayne said, and then we need a second and then discussion. If so be it by the board.
Well, at this point, just point of clarity, point of order, just the board now could be now deliberate, if that's what the chair wants to do. What Mr. Esseltine did in his summary is his recommendation. He made it in the form of a motion. In your deliberation, if you want to emphasize his motion, you guys can still state that, and it can be seconded, and the motion is already written out.
Okay. Anyone have?
I read it down.
We can ask questions.
Yes, we can, but James is on. Is he finished? The Zoom. James, are you finished? I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, I'm still here. I do have a statement that I do want to make because, look, the reason that this thing upsets me is because we had, people study to be attorneys, as we have a fine one that's in the building right now, because they need to know the law. We have CPAs that know money, but people hire contractors because they trust them. And when we have something like this, we cannot accept this in any way. This is not okay. We must go to the max, and I stand by that.
Okay, Christopher, you had a question you wanted to ask?
Yes, Wayne, do you have any idea how many other permits Mr. Slater has out? That he's applied for?
The last time I looked to see what his, record, I don't really know Mr. Slater or his dealings, and I don't really review these plans, but the last time I looked, he had a number of permits that he has pulled. He does everything from small work like fences and decks and things like that to duplexes. So it seems like he's jumped from small work to larger work and has completed a number of these duplexes. But then he's run into trouble along the way.
Yeah.
But no, there isn't a lot of permits that he has out. But there are some that, as we get into later on tonight, that are under construction. So we want to make sure that he's able to complete those so that these people aren't totally out of money.
Well, that's why I was worried about if permits have already been pulled, but they haven't been
We don't
completed
want
yet.
to, we don't want to make it so that he can't complete work that he's already started.
Correct. Okay. Let me just check that general contractor's number so that we can put it in our motion. It was, his general contractor's number is CGC 1526339. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That is correct for under slated construction, which are the cases we have before you tonight.
Right. Okay. I'll entertain a motion. Well, I guess we need to decide what we're going to do with him, correct? We need to decide whether it's going to be the 500 plus 100. And at some point, will we have to figure out when we can start a suspension after he completes the projects?
No, ma'am. As I read in the motion, and I have copies of that motion, if you'd like to read it.
That would be good.
But, and I probably could put it on the overhead. I don't know, should I?
But it's just, Madam Chair, just a point of order here. If the board is already done with this deliberation, which I think it is, then someone can call the question. How the city was recommending its motion is in 4 points, and it's being handed out to you right now. Number one, you find that he is in violation of City Code Ordinance 261735, subsection 5. Number two, that the board fines him in the amount of $500 plus an additional $100 in admin fee, and all that has to be paid within 30 days. In addition to that, his privilege will be suspended for 2 years, and he would have to, after that 2 years, come before this board again to demonstrate his competence before reinstating the privilege. And the last one, which mentioned by Mr. Etzeltine, is any uncompleted work that has already been permitted may continue until completion pursuant to our section, to our code. Those are the 4 recommendations, and we that the city is recommending that this board consider.
I think it was just the last one that I was concerned with. Okay.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm concerned too in the last one. What would make us think that this gentleman is going to actually follow through with anything?
Okay. Yes.
I have a problem with number 4, allowing him to complete the permits that are out there now. I'm afraid that may put those homeowners in jeopardy of losing further funds.
But if we don't do that, then it puts them in jeopardy of if the guy just said, okay, you know, I'm going to get out of the contract, and you can, you know, try to get somebody else, and you can't get somebody else to go in on somebody else's bill, because then they're responsible for the whole thing.
Madam Chair, may I speak? So the reason for that is, so you can imagine if you gave somebody $75,000 down and they haven't started your house yet, and then all of a sudden they can't because the board has decided that they can't, now you're out $75,000. You would want them to at least get started, try to recoup some of your money, if not all of it. But you can't stop them from being able to complete a contract that's already in effect, and that's in accordance with our code.
Okay.
Wayne, is there anything on number 4 where, I don't know, I guess the building department can't get involved with as far as NTOs and payments and all that. Because number 4, and the reason that the board, I think, is focusing on 4 is because, what? Is there more money funneling into the civ? I mean, it's pretty clear here. I don't say that. Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm going. Can you hear me?
Barely.
Yeah, Wayne, so what would make, I get the building department has its own restrictions, and I get that, but the reason I think the board is looking at number 4, and we're all looking at it, it's very clear, is that because what would make all of us think that somebody else isn't gonna be duped out of money? I mean, is there anything that could be put in place to ensure that that wouldn't happen? And maybe that goes outside the purview of the building department. I don't know.
Well, these contracts are, again, civil matters. And you don't want to restrict him from being able to complete something where he's been given money and to where he cannot continue any kind of work, because then you really take the money right out of the hands of the owner. And I mean, we have a case that's coming up where they have that situation. And so it has to stay like that. Otherwise, you're hurting owners if you don't let them complete what he has started.
Well, see, I go the other way. I think that this individual has an issue. I don't know what it is. That's his personal life. But I don't see a propensity for this guy to change his method apparatus. This guy is going to continue to do the same thing over and over. And obviously, I guess the Sebastian Building Department can't do anything, and that's fine. I accept that.
Okay. Madam Chair, if I can, City Attorney, just all due respect to Mr. Fournier, I understand his point. These are just city's recommendations. If the board doesn't want number 4, you want to make changes, these are just recommendations. The board needs to make its final recommendation. So this is why you deliberate. So if you don't like number 4 and you like 1, 3, whatever, any changes to it, you let us know. I'll draft the order.
Okay, so another question. This is Mr. Fortin. So can we put restrictions on number 4? Is that something that's legal, or do we not have the autonomy to do such? In other words, you can't take money until you finish. Is that something that's possible?
I don't think that's possible or legal, especially by our code. I think the best thing you guys can do if you have an issue with number 4 is eliminate 4 and just suspend the person's license for the time that we were recommending or whatever you guys recommended for anything less. But no, I don't think you can legally tell someone, do the work. I mean, how can we enforce that? Think about that. I mean, we're not the enforcers here. We're enforcing our codes, and we're trying to stick to our codes. So that's something that I don't think, A, it's legal, and B, for sure we can enforce it.
That's a good answer, and I think that, in my opinion, correlates back to Wayne, where we got to be careful we don't, just suspend for the members, for the homeowners. We have to be careful. So I yield on that. I take it back. I sensed the number 4 from the board, and I have the same reservation. But I don't know. It sounds like we don't have much to do with this one, in my opinion. Just my opinion.
Well, I think number 4 needs to stay in there because we need to allow him to finish anything that he has going for these people that have given him money. We need to allow him to at least finish that, and if we terminate his privileges...
Madam Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Why don't you poll the board and see how the board feels about number 4?
I'm just waiting for deliberation. Okay. How does everyone...
Madam Chair, if I can,
feel about number 4? Would you like to...
Madam Chair,
yes.
Point of order. You call the question, let someone do a motion, and if it fails, it failed. That's how you do it. So call the question, let someone do a motion, And if it's seconded, if you all agree, you're good. And if it's seconded, it doesn't, then you try another motion.
Okay,
I would make a motion that we remove item 4 from the suggested motions.
Okay, is that seconded?
I second it.
Then for purpose for discussion, ma'am, you can have a discussion. If not, just call the question, call a vote now on that issue. Meaning the question right now is the same exact recommendation that Mr. Esselton has minus number 4. It's been first by Mr. Chalkowski and it's been seconded by Mr. Fournier, if I recall correctly. Just take a vote, roll call, take a vote, and if it fails, another motion.
All right. Mr. Welcher,
And what's this for?
If number
this
4
is,
The motion right now, sir, is, the motion that was first and seconded is, you're only voting that you want to recommend the first 3, not number 4. That's the motion. If you agree, then you say,
Well, I'm for all 4.
You're for all 4?
Yeah.
Keep going.
Mr. Roberts,
Mr. Roberts, again, I can't see your name from here, I apologize. Yours is a no. Your question now is the same thing. Do you support 3 or do you want all 4? If you want all 4, then your answer is no.
I would want just the 3.
Then your answer is yes.
Yes.
okay, Mr. Fortier,
I second it, so yes, it's yes, I second it.
Mr. Sheskowski,
yes.
Ms. Carbano.
no,
The votes are 3 yeses, 2 noes, so the motion carries.
So what carries now is that the discipline will be the first 3 minus number 4. That's it.
okay. And do we need to have some discussion, or everything's okay? I need to read the motion. The motion to find Dylan Slater with license number CGC 1526339 with the following. In violation of the City Code of Ordinance 26-172, Paragraph 5, where the contractor was unwilling to fulfill his obligations under the terms of the contract because of his diversion of funds. A fine in the amount of $500 plus an additional $100 administrative fee in accordance with 26-175, Paragraph D, and shall be paid within 30 days. All permitting privileges are suspended for a period of 2 years, at which time the contractor must reappear before the construction board to demonstrate competency to the satisfaction of the board before reinstating permitting privileges. And that's second again, I guess?
Second.
I'll second it.
Okay. I guess we're done with 116 Ormond Court.
Just for the record, just to be clear, Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
the motion was already made, and I believe you guys already had a tally vote, and it was 3-2. So the
Right.
motion for 1, 2, and 3 pass. So item number 8 Alpha is
Well-
done.
Okay.
You move on to 8 Bravo.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to get all of the numbers in the, his contractor license, I'm sorry. You should know. All right.
Is it out of order to ask Wayne a question?
You can ask Wayne a question, yes.
Oh, Wayne, I had a question. Now that, if we're saying Mr. Dillon's license is going to be suspended, is there a way we can facilitate to help the citizens that already have permits?
That
Find
was number 4.
a new contractor?
That was number 4.
No.
No, there's nothing we can do about that.
No, but we'll have to move on to the other cases.
Okay.
And Chris, to be clear, he's only suspended in Sebastian. He's a certified contractor. He's allowed to work through the state. You've only suspended him for Sebastian. That's it.
Madam Chair, we're on the next item.
Next item.
For the record, I'll read it. This is a matter of, again, Mr. Dylan Slater, DBA Slater Construction LLC. Again, exact violation, alleged violation of the following section of Sebastian City Code ordinance that occurred at the following location. Of course, now it's a different location, 104 Marsh Street. The same applicable code applies, which is section 26-172, calls for disciplinary action. Again, we're referencing subsection 1, diversions of funds or property received for the completion of a specified construction project or operation, or as a result of a diversion of the contractor is or will be unable to fill the terms of his obligations. Nothing further.
Okay. Do we have any members who have to disclose any ex parte communication regarding this 104 Marsh Street? Okay. The city clerk can swear in all who intend to testify on...
Madam Chair,
That's
everyone has
already
been
done,
sworn
correct.
in, and there should be no new witnesses other than potentially, and I assume the public hearing was opened. There should be no new witnesses. The 2 prior witnesses that were instanced from a different situation, those you can also weigh in your matters today. I think you're only going to hear now from Mr. Esseltine and potentially the property owner, and they've all been sworn.
Okay. All right.
Would you like me to proceed with the staff report?
The applicant's not here, so we'll just go to the staff presentation.
This occurred at 104 Marsh Street. The owners are Joseph and Katrina Cummings. The narrative of the violations are 12/14/2020. The owners entered into a contract to build a duplex in the amount of $250,000. On 12/30/2020, application was made for a building permit to build a duplex at 104 Marsh Street. On 3/31/2021, building department received a receipt from the contractor for payment of Indian River County utilities, date stamped 12/9/2020. The new Indian River County utility receipts were received on 3/10/2022, the amounts of $14,685 for each unit. So again, it appears that the utility receipts submitted by the contractor to the building department on 3/31/2021 for the purposes of obtaining a building permit was a utility receipt that had been tampered with, shows a different address, owner's name, and phone number. The evidence shows that the parcel ID number on the receipt matched up with 115 Flint Street, a duplex that had previously built by Slater Construction. 8/25/21, a claim of lien was placed on 104 Marsh Street by Jacob Bynum and of Big Johnson Concrete Placement for non-payment after filing a notice to the owner on July 20th, 2021. The owners have provided invoices showing that direct payments were made to various suppliers of materials in lieu of Slater Construction in order to continue the construction project. 3/7/22, the owner filed a contractor complaint affidavit with the City of Sebastian Building Department. That concludes my narrative of the violation. I'd like to enter in the staff report with the board's permission as Exhibit 1.
Okay. Okay. We have questions for the
And ma'am, just for the
staff, because
record,
we don't have any,
ma'am,
yes.
again, City Attorney, just for the record, that's the staff report for this specific case will be Exhibit 1, but the same reports previously submitted as the notices, and which was Exhibit 2, and the statutes as Exhibit 3, all those similar pertain to all
Okay.
3 cases.
The stuff that he sent in, sure.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I had read something, and I was just trying to find it, and I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. I have it open if anyone's, I guess we don't have any questions. We pretty much, do we have any questions of staff on this particular one?
So if I have it correct, on this house, the project's not completed.
They are very, very close to getting their CO. I think they had a couple of remaining items, but they should be getting their CO anytime now.
And Mr. Slater's doing that work?
No, the Cummings, the owners have pretty much taken the project over. In place of Slater, they're doing, you know, direct contact with all the subcontractors trying to get the project done. So I don't think Slater plays a very large role anymore.
And we have no response from Mr. Slater about this project either?
I have not spoken to him.
No.
Okay.
The owners have. I mean, the owners have been in contact with him. And unfortunately, the owners are not here tonight.
Okay, that's what I was about to ask.
They're on a cruise. So I'll try to do my best to try to answer any questions. I'm familiar with their case and the documentation that they gave me, which most of it is in your packet.
Okay.
I mean, to me, this is like chapter 3 of the horror novel that we're reading. I mean, it just keeps continuing. It shows the propensity of this individual to stain construction, in my opinion. And I think everything should stay the status quo as far as what the board does, in my opinion. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Chair, do you want to take any comments from the floor? From the
The
floor?
board have any comments
No,
about this particular?
From the public?
Project, the public, I'm sorry. All right. Do we have anyone from the public who'd like to speak
In favor of?
in favor?
I was going to say, as long as it's not repetitive testimony, ma'am.
When you come, state your name and spell your last name, please.
My name is Yolanda Allen Bell, B-E-L-L. I met Dylan Slater in May of 2020, and he's supposed to build a 2-bedroom, 2-bath for my mother, and I gave him the first payment in April of 2020.
Just ma'am, just point of order. This witness is not sworn, so if this board wants to consider it, she's going to have A be sworn. Hold on, ma'am. A be sworn. If not, you can just give it any weight you want.
Or you can even look up public records. It's on public records.
Ma'am, I'm not talking about you. So you're not a sworn witness. They cannot hear you testify unless you are sworn. So the board needs to be made aware she's not a sworn witness. So either you swear her in, or anything she says, you give it whatever weight you want.
Could you swear her in, please?
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the factual statements and factual presentations which you are about to give or present during this public hearing will be truthful and accurate?
Yes.
Thank you.
And you can always look it up in public records, because I took it to trial in February 4th of 2022. I won the trial. Dylan Slater never showed up. I got a $39,000 judgment towards him. And back to the story, he's supposed to build a 2-bedroom, 2-bath for my mom. I gave him $19,000 in 2020 of April. And then he came back in June and he got another $19,000. And then he kept telling me that's once the pandemic hit. He couldn't get the material. He couldn't get the material. So finally, I got my lawyer to give him just told him to cancel the contract. I offered him a couple $1,000s. He said no. He offered me 18 grand back. I told him no. So I took him to trial in February of 2022, February 4th.
Okay, I don't think we can hear, we should be hearing this, correct? Of what she took him to trial for? I mean, this has nothing to do with what's going on here.
Madam Chair, again, I just think anything that's relevant to just Mr. Dillon, focus on Mr. Dillon, whatever she went through, Mr. Dillon, this board swore her in. You want to take it for what it's worth, that's up to this board.
Well, we can take the trial out. He never built the house, and he took $38,000 from me.
That's good.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. Okay. Do we have anyone else that likes to speak? Please state your name and spell your last name.
Bruce McCullers, MCCULLERS. I contracted with Slater Construction August 2020. Was promised a house in 6-7 months. Same story as everybody else. He was paid 90% of the contract. I ended up paying the plumber, the AC, the painters, the granite people, the almost Gator Lumber. Everyone was sending me a notice of commit or a intent to lien. Same story as everybody else. But in another avenue, the shoddy work that he was doing. It's funny you said that he has a fence license or does fence work. When I went there and said, when I saw the guy laying tile, he said, "Oh, I'm really a fence guy by trade for Dylan," and he had him in there laying tile in a $300,000 house. All that had to be, I switched contractors in January. I'm going after him civilly, and to speak to something as far as the Sheriff's Department is on this. They were at my office earlier this week, and I'm going to speak to him again tomorrow about the criminal aspect of the way he operates. But he was paid in full cash for 90% of my house, and I paid probably $100,000 over just to keep the liens off of the property. I did get a CO last week after my new contractor picked up all the pieces, went down and paid thousands of dollars in re-inspection fees to get this house up to where we can start building again. And now the house is on the market, but just to show not only did he swindle the money, his workmanship was horrendous. I had to rip all the windows back out of the house and start over. Everything was mismatched. I hope the board takes the weight and gives him what he deserves. And I know you guys are limited in your scope of penalties, but he deserves a lot worse than this. He has put a lot of people, and part of them aren't even here today, and he should never be able to build again in any business. He has a roofing company, some sort, on the West Coast that he holds a license for, and then as well as the new pool company that he's trying to venture into. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak?
Ready for my case?
Your case is next. Your case is next.
No, next.
No, next. After this.
I'm sorry. You're
Marion.
You would like to,
Microphone, please. Mike?
I'll leave it on. Okay, I'm sorry. I'd like to open the floor to the public for anyone opposing the appeal. Would that be what you wanted, Wayne? Is she opposing the appeal, or is she?
No, ma'am, she's the next, she's
not
the
this
next case.
Okay. All right, so then we'll just go on with, okay.
Would you like staff summary?
Staff summary, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Cummings entered into contract with Slater Construction on 12/14/2020. Building the house for the amount of $250,000. Mr. Slater was paid various draws totaling $195,000. Mr. and Mrs. Cummings experienced construction delays, numerous inspection failures. Became aware of instances where payments should not be made to subcontractors and suppliers of materials. Mr. Dylan Slater appears to have fraudulently changed documents, one government agency, and submitted an evidence of payment to another governmental agency. Mr. and Mrs. Cummings have had a claim of lien placed on their property for non-payment. With concrete placement subcontractor, Mr. and Mrs. Cummings have had to put pressure on Dylan Slater and in some cases pay suppliers directly to avoid non-payment by the contractor. According to the owner's estimate. I am so sorry. You want me to start over? To date, they have had to pay an additional $103,040. Mr. Dylan Slater has shown that he was unwilling to fulfill his obligations under the terms of the contract by diversion of funds paid by the owner in violation of City Code Ordinance 26-172-5. Again, the staff recommends the same motion as in the last case. Mr. Dylan Slater with license number CGC 1526339 have the following in violation of the City Code of Ordinance 26-172 (5). Contractor was unwilling to fulfill his obligations or the terms of the contract because of the diversion of funds. The fine in the amount of $500 plus additional $100 administrative fee in accordance with 26-175 parentheses D, and shall be paid within 30 days. All permitting privileges suspended for a period of 2 years, at which time the contractor must reappear before the board to demonstrate competency and the satisfaction of the board before reinstating his permitting privileges. And number 4, any uncompleted work that has permit issued or applied for on this date may continue completion in accordance with 26-175 parentheses E. So it's the same motion. We've already made that termination in the last hearing. So I don't know. I think you can make the same motion again if you'd like to.
Okay. Anyone have any discussion?
Can I say something?
Sure.
No, I was reading in the complaint affidavit that we were provided, and from this affidavit, it seems like it's a lot worse than the first case we heard, and I found the portions where it talks about where he refused to show receipts or evidence of the payments he had made to show some of Mr. Slater's motivations there. I find that pretty troubling that he's not being open or honest with the owners, not showing any kind of proof that he is making those payments. So
I agree.
I think this one, to me, this one is more significant than the first one we were presented.
Well, the fine of $500 is the maximum amount of our current
Unfortunately,
code.
that's the case.
And we've talked about suspending his license.
Yes.
Do we have any other options?
Yeah,
Really no further disciplinary actions the board has the authority to take.
all right, Wayne, I have a question. Whenever we get a moment. I have a
Mr.
question.
Fournier, time out. Just a point of order.
Yeah.
Mr. Robert, are you done with your question, sir?
Yes, I just wanted to point that out.
Okay. All right. Madam Chair.
Yeah, it's hard on Zoom. I do apologize. So, Wayne, so we are only allowed to suspend this person for their contracting privileges in Sebastian. This individual is a certified contractor. Now, this meeting does go on YouTube in a couple of days, which makes it public information. Can contractors weigh in and send something to the state or no?
I'm not sure that I got it all, what you were saying, but any findings that the board makes will all be forwarded to the state, and the state will consider it for further disciplinary hearing.
Right,
Disciplinary actions.
but when contractors kind of rise up, once it's public information, I get right now it's private, that holds a little bit of weight. Is that legal? And I guess I'm asking the legal counsel there, if it is.
I'm sorry, is there a question in there somewhere, Mr. Fortier?
Well, the question is that when this becomes when it comes public information, where it's published on YouTube, as you know, this meeting is put on YouTube, can contractors contact state to file a complaint, or is that illegal?
Anyone can file a complaint.
Fair enough. Good enough.
Okay, I'd like to call for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we take the suggested motion as a 1, 2, and 3, as we did in the last case.
I'll second that. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wiltshire,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Fortier,
Yes.
Mr. Sheskowski,
Yes.
Ms. Carbano.
Yes.
The vote is 5 in favor, 0 against. It's unanimous, and the motion carries.
Okay, we're going to go on to the next one. And this This is in regard to 133 Admiral Circle. Okay, and I have a question. I read in here that the permit was on hold because of trusses. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, it says here staff summary. That was, I'll get to that when I get to your staff summary. We'll just go on. Okay. We'll open the hearing, and the attorney needs to read the title.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. This is the third and last quasi-judicial hearing. This is in the matter again of Mr. Dylan Slater, DBA Slater Construction LLC. Same alleged violation of the following section of Sebastian City Code of Ordinance that occurred, in this case, at the location of 133 Admiral Circle. It's the same applicable code section from the city, which is section 26172. Causes for disciplinary actions, subsection 1, diversion of funds or properties received for the completion of a specified construction project or operation, or as a result of the diversions, the contractor is or will be unable to fulfill the terms of the obligation or contract. Nothing further. And all the witnesses are sworn.
Okay. Do any of the board members have to disclose any ex parte communication regarding this 133 Admiral Circle project? No. Okay. And everyone is sworn in. The agent's not here. We'll have staff presents.
Yes, ma'am. So the narrative here is on February 22nd, 2021, the owner entered into contract to build a duplex for $250,000. On April 28, 2021, Slater Construction applied for a building permit and a land clearing permit to build a duplex at 133 Admiral Circle. Due to numerous delays by the contractor to remove and relocate gopher tortoises in the property, the land clearing permit did not get issued until February 25th of 2022. The land clearing permit received a final inspection of the erosion control barrier on March 9th of this year, 2022. Back on June 16th, 2021, Dylan Slater informed the owner the price of lumber is going up and the owner should order the roof truss materials now to save money. On June 17th, 2021, Dylan Slater gave the owner a price of $41,500 for the lumber and truss package. On June 17th, 2021, the owner paid Slater Construction by check of $41,500 for the lumber and truss package. On April 7th, 2022, with the help of the owner, the building official was able to verify that Tibbet Lumber Company had received an order from Slater Construction on March 8th, 2021 for a truss package at 133 Admiral Circle. However, Tibbet Lumber Company states they do not receive a signed quote or the required deposit for the truss package from Slater Construction. According to the lumber company policies, they must receive a signed quote within 10 days and deliver within 30 days of the quote date, according to Tibbet Lumber Company. Tibbet Lumber Company's correspondence. 25% deposit is required from the contractor to obtain the truss engineering and layout plan, and to date, one of the reasons why the building department has not been able to issue the duplex building permit is because the truss manufacturer's engineering layout plan has not been submitted along with the engineering. So on February 9th, 2021, the owner filed a complaint affidavit with the City of Sebastian Building Department. I believe that's supposed to be 22. So I want to enter our staff report, again, with the board's permission. This will be Exhibit 1 for this particular case at 133 Admiral Circle.
And that permit remains on hold, correct? Wayne, I'm sorry. That permit remains on hold, correct? I'm sorry.
What did you say? Do you have a question for me?
Yes, I did. I wanted to know if the permit is still on hold.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
To the best of my knowledge, it is. Would you like to move on to open the floor for public hearing? I believe the owner is here.
Right. Well, I'd like to call for the public hearing, and I know you've been sworn in, so would you come up and state your name and spell your last name, please?
Am I going to break my back on this? Oh, that's better.
Yeah,
Paula Hegi, Hegi.
Okay, you can move it up.
I'm all
can't you,
right.
a little?
I got a big mouth.
Oh, okay. I have just the opposite problem, so.
I know.
Okay.
So first, I'm not sure exactly if I heard you correctly in your beginning comments of all of this. I just noticed that there was 2 addresses that were interchanged in your comments. So I don't know if you want to, because she had mentioned that that's the wrong address. So I just, you know.
Yours is correct. I corrected it in the exhibit that I sent over there. The first case, I had intermixed yours with theirs, but we fixed it.
All starting to sound the same. My contract price was $296,640, not $250. So yeah, I signed a contract with Dylan Slater, like he said, in February of 2021. Gave him $74,160, and you know, thought he was going to do his job. And he then asked again, you know, the lumber's going up. And I had said, well, maybe we should just hold off if lumber's going up. No, my other people are doing it, and you're going to be able to save $16,000, so it's a good thing to do, and blah, blah, blah. I gave him another $41,500. So the issue here with the turtles, let me just bring this to your attention, is that Margie Kuby, right, the turtle lady, I had a conversation with her on November 23rd, 2021. We all know that Margie likes to talk. She told me that Dylan told her to hold off on the turtles. And she said that sentence twice in that conversation, and I immediately took notes. So we can get with Margie so she can verify. That was the beginning, is that he told her, let's hold off on the turtles. So he's sitting with $115,000, $600 of my money. To this day, I have nothing. I have a partially cleared lot with some silt fencing, and yes, the turtles are gone. Hallelujah.
Nothing has been built on the property?
No permit.
And let's just call it what this is. He's not going to build. You can fine him $500. You can do this. The dude's going to leave the state, and I know we're already screwed. I know I'm not going to get my money back. Okay? But I would hope that you would give me something in writing that I can walk it over to the sheriff or whoever so I can do criminal. We can say diversion all we want. He's a thief. He's a criminal. He's already a felon. He's bad news. So I would ask that you would please do that for me, because I don't have any money for an attorney.
We'll do the best we can.
Right, with what I know you're limited in what you're able to do.
We will file the stuff with the state.
Right.
So, you know.
Well, I already did it with the state of Florida, and they have received my complaint, and it is underway. So hopefully they're getting all of this and know that we got to put this guy out of business. And really, he needs to go to jail because he has ruined my future, my financial future, along with other people here.
Well,
he's a thief, and he needs to go to jail. And again, I know that's not your jurisdiction.
Well, I wish we could do that for you.
Huh?
I wish we could do that for you.
I know, it's horrible.
At the frustration.
So, you know, with the permits and all of this, we know nothing's going to happen. You know, at one time, I think he gave plans from another one of his duplexes and my plans aren't like his cookie cutters. Mine was custom. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not going to happen. He's not going to build. He's not going to do anything here. And from what I understand this is a small town, that he's leaving the state. So something to think about.
Wayne,
that's it.
Okay.
Wayne, can I say something, Wayne? Wayne, can I say something?
It's to the board, not through Wayne, Mr. Fournier, so if the chair needs to recognize you. Madam Chair, Mr. Fournier wants to be recognized. Madam Chair?
Go ahead, James.
Okay, so, couple of things. Number one, yes, I do agree this gentleman needs to be in jail, and I don't think we have the autonomy to do that. However, just for your edification, there is a recovery fund through the state that will give you funds back. You just have to work through that with the state. But that is an option for you. I didn't know if you knew that. But there is something called a recovery fund where you can get that back once a contractor does you wrong, and it sounds like they did. I'm just pointing that out. That's all.
Excuse me, can I just speak for a minute? There is a recovery fund?
Ma'am, you can't, if you're going to testify, you can't up and back.
Okay, well, I know that there is a recovery fund, and because of the fiasco with the Armor pool scandal, right? Those same victims have been trying to get their money, and it's a nightmare. It's a total nightmare.
Right.
I just, you know, this is affecting my health. So I don't even know if I can do that, and I can't afford to pay an attorney. So I understand
That's
the fund,
sad.
sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. He has a question. Mr. Roberts?
When's the last time you've heard or spoken to Mr. Slater?
The last text message was, I have a whole big thing.
I'm trying to think.
I believe it was March of 2022. I have to get the specific date. Oh, here it is. So 4/4/2022 said he's not going to screw me and get on his A game, because I have all this where, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to let you down. I'm going to get on my A game. I'm going to do better. My life is blah, blah, blah. Just his usual BS. And then on April 13th was the last time I reached out to him in a text message and just said more failed plans, because he's submitting plans that aren't for my house. There's no plans, there's no engineering. It's all smoke and mirrors.
That's terrible. I don't know. I'm very sorry.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm very sorry.
So am I.
Wayne, we said we can't revoke his license? We can only suspend it?
He's a state licensed contractor. The only thing you can do is revoke his permitting privileges. That's about it.
And just
It'll be up
compile
to
all
the
this
state to
information.
do
and
Okay,
send
I
it to the
understand.
state.
It's through
And the
state, not-
recommendation that we made was suspending his permitting privileges and kind of going along with what the county did for 2 years. But we put in the caveat that you have to reappear before this board, tell you convince you that his license should be reinstated. And whether that ever happens or not, I don't know. But that's what the reason why we structured the motion the way we did. But there's a state licensed contractor, all we can do is stop the bleeding by revoking his permitting privileges.
And I agree with that, Wayne. It stopped the bleeding because this gentleman is going to leave the state. I guarantee it. So we're just stopping the bleeding. I guarantee it. He's going to leave the state. He has done what he's going to do.
He's going to North Carolina with his new wife that I paid for the wedding. Isn't that nice of me?
Well,
And his wife is in on it too, because he told me on that first check that my accountant is going to come in and she's going to deposit the check, Madison Taylor. And then he said, oh, my girlfriend, Madison Taylor, and now they're married. So we're going to rope her in too, criminally.
well, hopefully you'll be able to get something done there.
Well, it's
Okay,
just getting this county or this jurisdiction in the law enforcement to hear us, because I think that, you know, I think we may be looked at as small potatoes, but we're not.
No.
And it shouldn't matter the size of the theft.
And it does matter to us, and we'll try to do whatever we
Yeah.
can.
I mean, it's grand theft.
Well,
Yeah.
yes,
I
absolutely.
agree.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll,
To answer your question, Paula, is that at the conclusion of each one of these cases, we'll be doing a final order. We'll make sure that you get that, make sure that all the people affected by it get that final order, so you will have something in writing.
Thank you. We good?
Not gonna pay anything.
James, are you speaking? I didn't want to go over you.
No, I wasn't. I was just commenting to myself that it's not gonna pay anything.
We'll have the staff present his findings, please.
Ms. Paula Hagee has entered into the contract with Slater Construction 11/18/2019 to build a duplex. I have written here $250,000. She said it was more. Mr. Dylan Slater was initially paid a $74,160 down payment. Mr. Dylan Slater collected an additional $41,500 to purchase roof truss package that he said he would wrap to keep dry until it can be used. Evidence has shown that he has placed the order with Tibbet Lumber Company on 3/8/2021, but never followed through to make the deposit in order to obtain the truss engineering and layout, nor take delivery of the truss package. To date, the building department has not received the truss manufacturer's engineering or layout plan. Building permit for the duplex was applied for 4/8/2021, remains on hold. Mr. Dylan Slater has shown that he was unwilling to fulfill his obligations under the terms of the contract by diversion of funds paid by the owner in violation of City Code of Ordinance 26-172, parentheses 5. Again, the motion is in the same as the other cases. And I guess for the record, I will read it again. Motion to find Dylan Slater with license number CGC 1526339 with the following: violation of the City Code of Ordinance 26-172, parentheses 5. Contractor was unwilling to fulfill his obligations under the terms of the contract because of diversion of funds. A fine in the amount of $500 plus $100 administrative fee in accordance with 26-175D and shall be paid within 30 days. All permitting privileges suspended for a period of 2 years, at which time the contractor must reappear before the construction board to demonstrate the competency to the satisfaction of the board before reinstating permitting privileges. Any uncompleted work that has a permit issued or applied for on this date may continue completion in accordance with 26-175, parentheses E. Again, emphasizing the importance of number 4. I realize the board's misgivings in the previous cases, but what you were forcing me to do as the building department and putting Ms. Hagee in a position where she has paid him money, but he is not allowed to build.
He can, he won't, we know it.
Whether he does or does not, you are making it so that he cannot. And also, any other contracts that are out there that have permits, I'm gonna have to issue stop work orders, and these contractors or these homeowners are gonna have to come back in and find a new contractor or assume the work themselves if they can. And I don't know how many there are out there, but by doing what you've done, it's gonna make it very difficult for these people to recoup their money. So, as much as you might not like number 4, it is important. In Ms. Hagee's situation, I don't think you should put that restriction on her, because if you do, it's absolutely not, he's not going to be able to do the work, period. And he's already got our money. I just want to say that. That is my opinion. The board can deliberate and decide what they want to do.
He's not going to. He's not going to come back and satisfy anybody. The only thing that he would do is try to milk more money from the data that I received from this. He's not going to do anything for anybody.
Well, that's your opinion, sir, and you're entitled to it, but you don't know that for sure.
Well, the data shows it. The man is a crook. I don't know how else to say it.
Can I just say one thing?
No, ma'am, no. We're beyond your testimony. We have
If we could
summations.
just add up all the money that's been
Ma'am, you're out of
stolen,
order,
that would be
ma'am.
good.
Ma'am, excuse
Thank
me.
you.
No one's listening. You're out of order. Respect the process, please.
Wayne, let me ask you a question on that number 4. If we had phrased it differently to allow it to just be her permit rather than the ones that have been applied for on this date. Perhaps that's what a lot of the problem was. That's saying that any permit by any other permit by Mr. Slater.
Well, and the attorney will correct me if I'm wrong. So the way I view this is you got 3 different distinct cases with 3 different orders.
Right.
And 3 different motions. And so on the others, you've made it so that he cannot, his permitting privileges are suspended, period.
Okay.
He can't
So that would cover
drive
that.
another nail. So on this one, and I would just encourage you, because this is a case that's before the board right now, so you want to either take the hammer out of his hands completely, or do you want to allow him to do something? And of course, Ms. Hagee has to, it's her private contract with him, whether she's going to let him do something or not. But I don't know what he's going to do or not going to do.
Correct.
But, and I don't have any real faith that he's going to do anything either. But I certainly don't want to make it so he can't, so that she is absolutely out of the money that she has given him.
Right.
So I think it's important to just at least recognize the fact that the gravity of what you're doing. And this, number 4, is in accordance with our code. That is what our code reads. You have the authority to not put that in your motion, but that is how our code reads.
Madam Chairman,
Yes, sir?
by removing 4, I think it would strengthen her case when she goes for the litigation, being the fact that he has had his privilege removed from doing the work because he hasn't performed.
But he has $110,000 of her money that we're not even giving him an opportunity to do anything with.
He's had all the opportunity in the world to do it up to this date.
He's not going to do it. He's going to take the rest. He's going to ask for, I can move forward with this if I get $10,000. This is, no, I cannot be part of that. I cannot. He's a crook.
Madam Chair, are we in the deliberation process?
Yes, we are, I
Okay,
believe.
Roger, thank you, ma'am.
Because we said he didn't complete either of the 2 previous houses, right?
No.
The owners had to complete those.
They had to pay extra to get it completed because they had filed liens on their houses. That's what I believe was, but they were mostly completed or in
The owners made those right, and Mr. Slater never did.
right, that was the owners. That's my understanding. I'm sitting up here just like you. But I do believe that he does have to have an opportunity to put some, attempt to do $110,000 worth of work. Let's just put it that way. If we stop all his privileges, he can't do anything. How about you? Any questions, any input? Nothing?
Nothing.
That's unlike you. Okay. All right, then I'm going to call for a motion.
Excuse me, would we just make sure what this motion is, because it's going to be different, the wording.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We need to decide on number 4 before we go with the motion.
Well, I make a motion that we go at 1, 2, and 3.
I agree.
Mr. Roberts?
Well, we said because we're saying we already suspended.
Just point of order, ma'am. Chair? Madam Chair?
Yes.
Madam Chair, City Attorney, you have a motion by Mr., I apologize, sir, Siskowski. His motion was 1, 2, and 3. It was seconded by Mr. Fournier, I believe. That was.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
seconded?
didn't hear Mr. Fournier second. I'm sorry.
Mr. Fournier, did you second that? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, I did. Second.
Okay,
Yes.
so that's the first and it's been second, you gotta call the question. You gotta roll call.
Gotta call it.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Wiltshire?
No.
No. Mr. Roberts?
Yes, for just the 3.
Mr. Fortier?
Yes for the 3.
Mr. Sheskowski?
3, just as I stated, yes.
And Ms. Carbano?
No.
The vote is 3 in favor, 2 against. The motion carries.
Okay. No. Do we need to read into that what the
No, ma'am, the record's pretty clear what 1, 2,
record
and
is
3
bleak?
is.
Okay, I won't.
At this point in time, the public hearings are closed, and I recommend moving into item 9, if there's any board matters.
Okay. Let's just jump to board matters.
I have no matter before the board.
No? No?
No.
No? Mr. Fournier, any board matters?
I do have something I want to say, and I appreciate the time. So, we are witness tonight, people who have lost real money, and we must take that to the highest. That's why we're on the board. So, I hope that we use this to get stronger, because we have witnessed people come in front of us that have lost a lot of their money. We're talking about their life. And I just want to point that out, that's all.
Okay, thank you. Building official matters.
I have none, but I just wanted to ask the board members to please leave your blue packets here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Attorney matters?
1 second, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, just one quick question, and I don't want to get into the details of it because it's being handled by an attorney already. But just for the record, I want the board to be aware that one of your cases named Matt Hall, which you guys had last time, is being appealed to the 11th Circuit, and we're currently in litigation in that matter. Just want the board to be aware of that your decision is being appealed. Nothing further.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? Is this Matt Hall with the aluminum company?
It was Matt Hall, yes, Shoreline Shutters.
Yeah, I disclosed on that meeting that I have ex parte, or however you say it. I did hire him like 5 years ago for CO, so I did disclose that. Just if that's the gentleman we're talking about, I want to say that again.
Yes, we've got that, and it's in the minutes, and it's not part of the appeal.
I have not used him since. No. Just wanted to make sure everybody knows. Transparency.
Okay. Then I'd like to adjourn the meeting, 8:01.